You on the road? I'll let them know. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Budget's fine here. Commission meeting.
There you go. Why don't you feel left out?
All right. Well, we'll see you in a bit. Bye.
Have you done this one?
How you doing? All right.
Sideways. We have those days, but there was no reason for that. They fired us, so we fixed the court. We did fine.
Everybody get signed in? Marion, did you get signed in?
I'm not on this.
Okay. I got the work session on here too.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Jones,
Thank you.
Jerry left earlier today, just get a copy. Copy of the meeting on that. Copy of it.
Oh, that's somebody.
Okay, I believe we have 6 o'clock, we can get started. Take a seat.
No, I'll share.
I thought maybe you might have left out.
No, you know I'll share.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Budget Finance Committee to order. First item of business is to review the minutes from the September 21st meeting that was included in your packet, I think. I don't have it either. Trying to see if they're published on the website. Thought they were attached.
It's in this on page 2, Dwight. It's in your, regular annual meeting.
They are on there?
Maybe right there, because it's listed. You look at B on page 2. too.
Probably use it for all of
Yeah.
Get your regular
it.
October 26th meeting, you don't have that?
October 19th.
Regular October 26th meeting, it's right there.
That's the agenda for the county board.
I know, but it's also a bunch of minutes in there.
They were from September 21st, is that right?
Yeah.
They're right, I've got my son.
Do what?
Amy said that mistakenly got left out, but we do have it.
Okay, so they are published on the website.
I pulled it out from a different source, so I don't.
Make sure they're published. I'm finding them.
Yeah, they're under the September 21st meeting on the website.
They are there.
Yes.
You want to read through the minutes for us?
You want to read all who's here?
Read the minutes.
Hartsville, Trousdale County Government Budget and Finance Committee meeting minutes. Budget and Finance Committee met September 21st, 2020 in the Hartsville Community Center at 6 p.m. Members present: Dwight Jewell, Chairman; Jeff Ford, Vice Chairman; Rachel Jones, Secretary; Ken Sutton, Commissioner; Shane Burton, Commissioner; Bill Ferguson, Commissioner; T. Bubba Gregory, Commissioner; Landon Gully, Commissioner; Richard Harsh, Commissioner; Lynn Sue Johnson, Commissioner; Gary Walsh, Commissioner. Mayor Stephen Chambers, Amy Thomas, CCFO, Brandon Beller, County Attorney, David Donner, Commissioner; Richard Johnson, Commissioner; Ray Russell, Sheriff; Tommy McFarland, Director of Water Utility Services; Chris Gregory, Editor of the Ride-Ed, and Brian for the Citizen. The meeting was called to order at 6 p.m. and a quorum was determined to be met by Chairman Jewell. A motion was made by Commissioner Gary Walsh to approve the committee meeting minutes for the Budget and Finance Committee from August 17, 2020. Motion seconded by Commissioner Richard Harsh. Motion carried. Chairman Jewell reviewed the county trustees report and the financial statement. It was noted that it is only the second month of the 2020-2021 fiscal year and that 16.67% of the budget. It was noted that the impact fees were a little more than anticipated. Sales tax revenues were $24,000 higher than the same time last year. Also, property tax is not coming in until October. The fund balance summary has not been audited at this point, but the fund balance is roughly $11,000 more than this time last year. A motion was made by Commissioner Ford to accept the trustee report financial statement for the county, seconded by Commissioner Walsh. Motion carried. Budget amendments. Budget Amendment 2021-10102, CAG Library $1,858. The CARES Act grant funding for the library. Motion made to approve by recommendation by Commissioner Gully, seconded by Commissioner Lynn Sue Johnson. Motion carried. Budget Amendment 10103R, Fire Reserves for $2,970. Fire equipment and 4 self-contained breathing apparatuses. Motion made for recommendation to the County Commission by Commissioner Harsh, seconded by Commissioner Ford. Motion carried. Budget Amendment 2021-10104, Fire Department employee, $540, Fire Department per diem and fees. Salary, Social Security, Medicare. Motion was made for recommendation to pass on to the full commission by Commissioner Clarity, seconded by Commissioner Walsh. Motion carried. Budget Amendment 10105, CARES Act Grant Senior Center, $22,500. CARES Act Grant Funding, purchase groceries and personal items. Motion was made to recommend to full commission by Commissioner Ford, seconded by Commissioner Jones. Motion carried. Budget Amendment 10106, FB Planning Assistant, $18,194. Part-time admin assistant for Building and Codes Office. Motion was made for recommendation to full commission for approval by Commissioner Ford, seconded by Commissioner Harsh. Motion carried. Budget Amendment 14102, Middle School Roof. Motion was made for recommendation to approve to the full commission by Commissioner Gary Walsh, seconded by Commissioner Lynn Sue Johnson. Motion carried. Old business, courthouse windows. Mayor Chambers states, due to the courthouse being a historical building in the National Register of Historical District and with the recommendation of the Greater National Regional Commission, there needs to be a historical structure report done before the windows are replaced. Mayor Chambers asked the Budget and Finance Committee to return the project back to the Building Committee to have the assessment completed. Commissioner Harsh, chairman of the Building Committee, agreed to take the project back. Public comment none noted. Adjourned with no further business to discuss. The motion was made by Commissioner Walsh, seconded by Commissioner Johns. Meeting was adjourned at 6:38 p.m.
You heard the reading of the minutes. Is there any corrections or questions about the minutes? Mr. Harsh?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve the minutes as read by Mr. Harsh, a second by Ms. Johnson. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Apologize for not having them. Amy is still working from home and trying to take care of sick people. And so we're going to have a few snafus, I think, until we can get her back and get things back somewhat to normal. Next item of business is to officer elections, elect officers for this committee for the upcoming year. Currently, I'm chairman, Mr. Ford is vice chairman, and Ms. Jones is secretary. Open the floor for nominations.
Leave the officers as they are, please, sir. Nomination.
Make a motion to keep the officers as is.
Second.
And I have a second by Mr. Walsh. Are there any other nominations? All in favor of leaving the officers as is, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is done. Thank you. Assuming everyone wants to continue in their position. All right. First item of business for tonight is our county financial summary and the trustees report. For sure that made it to the packet. No, I looked at it. Looking at your trustees report, the trial balance sheet on it gives you your cash balance, not necessarily your fund balance, but what's in the bank, so to speak, in each of those departments. Is there any questions about it? Mayor, is there anything you need to point out on that to us, any anomalies?
No, sir.
Looks pretty straightforward, everything seems to be about where it typically is for the end of the first quarter. Have any questions about the trial balance from the trustees report? Entertain a motion to accept the trustees report. One by Ms. Jones, second by Mr. Ford. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is carried. Move into your county financial summary of departments. We are into the third month of the end of the first quarter, so you would be looking at an approximate 25% of the year. When you're looking at each one of these line items, that would be kind of the figure that you would be looking at to see if they're under or over anything significant. Start with revenues in your 101. Property tax is just now beginning to come in. Property tax notices have went out. I know this month they're coming in pretty good. They're not reflected here. I think you'll start seeing a big surge in that next month. Just going down, some of the anomalies, something of the clerk and master's collections are a little bit over for that quarter. Business taxes are considerably over. I don't know that I can explain why that is. Do you have any? Just maybe a lot of them come in that quarter, I guess, would be the only thing I have to say to that. Impact fees, adequate facilities tax are a little bit above. Beer tax is a little bit below, but not substantially. Building permits are up. Usually the last quarter, last 2 quarters of the year, you have a surge before winter comes in on those. So that's kind of to be expected. Typically your 3rd quarter, they'll drop a little bit because of the winter months. Everything looks pretty much in line. You go to page 2. This is mostly with your court fees and jail, jail commissary sales, gasoline sales, all those type things. You idle on down to page 3 at the total revenues, we're a little bit under at 22.46. There again, your property tax hasn't started coming in, so actually to be at that figure that early in the year is actually pretty good. And I think that a lot of that is to come for our sales tax revenues holding up substantially well, considering we're going through COVID and things. They've been open. Any questions on the revenue side? Okay, move into expenditures in your one-on-one fund on page 3. There again, you're bouncing right at that 25% on pretty much everything. There's a few things that are a great percentage above or below, but they're small dollar amount figures. They're not anything that has any major significance to it that I've noted. Any questions on the one-on-one expenditures? If you get down to the very end of it on page 5, you'll see that we're 25% dead on your expenditures. Where you need to be, just slightly over 2507. Some of that is some transfers out. I think we had some larger than expected insurance premiums coming in maybe in that time. Was there anything else that skewed that, Mayor?
You've had some of the damage to police vehicles and everything. There was an increase over what you would have seen last year, so that's where you've seen some of it. But we're getting insurance reimbursements from those also, so they'll show up on a revenue line item.
Well, that's where it had to be paid out in that quarter. It'll come back in the next quarter. If we move on into your 111 fund, your urban services fund, there again, we're at 22.92%. On your revenue side, expenditures, you're slightly over 29.96. A big chunk of that is in your streetscapes project, where we paid out the monies on that. That's what's skewing those figures. Any questions on the 111 fund? Everybody comfortable with it? Okay. Moving into 116, solid waste and sanitation. Revenues look kind of slim there, Mayor. Can you explain any of that?
Well, you haven't got your property tax in yet.
So that's where the biggest part of
Well,
it is, that interest of
right.
that part of it.
We got budgeted $539,063, and so far we've only collected $3,167. So, and then you don't really see this does not include October's numbers, obviously, because you haven't started collecting property tax numbers yet. So that's where a good chunk of your budget's coming from.
If I remember correctly, our business tax, the 4th quarter of last year was a little light. It seemed like it was coming in hardly like we had thought maybe it would, and it seems to be blossoming in this quarter. But I'm just pulling that out of memory. I may be wrong on that. But it's good to see that the business tax is healthy.
And your waste collection charges also run a month behind.
Yep. That makes the difference sometimes. Any questions on 116? 118, your ambulance fund, about in line there again. It's kind of skewed when you start getting your property tax in. Expenditures, slightly over percentage wise, but it only translates into, probably $10,000 or $20,000, maybe, something of that nature. All right, your special funds flow through on your core civic funds on page 9. Typically, that's running about $4,429,000 a month. It fluctuates sometimes a bit, but that's about where it is, and it's always 1 to 2 months behind in getting it, County Road Fund, 122, pass-through account. It's designated specific funds for those purposes. Your highway fund, page 11. There again, property tax is not really reflected yet, but they're still doing very well under expenditures, and of course the revenues will come in. Any questions on it? $151, your debt service fund. Looks to be in line. Any questions on it? Any concerns? Same thing with the education debt service. Wheel tax is lagging just a little. Not sure why that is. Just the timing on when tags are coming in, coming out. I think it lags a month behind too. If I'm
It does.
So that's where we're at. I don't see anything that looks out of line. If you have any questions about it or anything that you don't understand, we'll try to answer them the best we can. A lot of it I can't answer very well without Amy being here. We'll do what we can. Mayor, was there anything of note that we needed to know about in that?
Just go back on the solid waste to 116, you see there's also a line item there for reimbursement. So it should be, line 46-170, said solid waste drainage landfill, we budgeted 122,788. That's where that's running behind a little bit due to changeover in staff at TDEC and some other things. Their reimbursements are running quite a few months behind now, but we have submitted those for reimbursement. We expect to be reimbursed under the reimbursement contract we got to the state. It's just running a little bit behind due to staff changeovers and some other issues they've experienced.
That's on the landfill closure out there, that's what that is.
Have they ever finished that? It's completely done.
I think there's still some road issues that they're having to
Well, that's what I'm saying.
grade,
It's
but
not,
nothing that holds up the funding.
Well,
Getting reimbursed.
it's still not completely done yet.
They're-
Well, the actual cap and everything on the site itself is complete. The access road is technically not part of this, but it had to be redone because when they were going in there, their heavy equipment and everything, like I said, it's probably one place you're gonna find in Trousdale County where you dig down a little bit and it's not rock. So it washed it out pretty bad, so we're having to fix that, but it was not originally part of the project. But as far as the cap itself and everything else, that is completed.
The project itself is completed, and it's been submitted for reimbursement.
Has the state come and looked at that and approved it?
They've already come out and inspected it, and they've given it for a preliminary approval. They gotta do an annual inspection every year, so we'll see them again probably August of next year.
Have a motion to accept the report. Ms. Johnson makes a motion, Ms. Jones makes a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is done. Move into budget amendments. Several budget amendments for your perusal this month. First one we have is VA 10105, CAG Senior Center, 22,000. Am I on the wrong one?
That's a grant.
Just a second. I don't think my packet's lining up with the agenda.
I just think the dollar amount at the top is off from what it should be down in the bottom.
All right, I got it. I don't understand why it says 22.5 at the top, it's 15,000.
It's just a mistake that was made.
Just a typo, okay. Where it says, at the top, VA 10105, CAG Senior Center 22.5, change that 22.5 to 15,000. That's what it reads in the body. This is CARES Act grant funding coming in, where we're receiving the money in from the CARES Act grant, and Senior Center putting it into other supplies and materials. They're purchasing grocery and personal items for senior citizens. Due to COVID, this is one of the approved things that could be done with that money. So that's what that one is. Any questions about it? Yes, sir.
Is this on top of the 22.5 from September? Is it the 22,500 you're talking about?
Yes, this is an addition, they're serving an additional 10 people, so they're getting more funding because they increased the number of people they're serving. So yes, it would be in addition to what we did amendment for, I think it was last month or the month before.
September.
okay. So we did 7,500 then, and we're doing 15 now?
Yeah, they've increased the number of people they're serving, so if you increase the number of people they're serving, you're getting more grant money for it.
We did 22,500 in September, correct?
I believe that's correct, and this will be on, it's gonna be on top of that.
So the 22.5 was just a misprint, should have been 15.
Right.
Well, we did 22.5 last month.
22,500.
We just picked up the wrong amount.
So it's actually two different, but you did 22,500 last month.
Right.
They've increased the number of people from last month to this month that they're gonna serve an additional 10 people, so they got additional funds on top of it. So that was the 15,000 that we're gonna do the budget amendment for this month.
Okay. Everybody understand? Will of the body.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Ford makes a motion to approve. Mr. Jones makes a second.
Turn that down.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That one does carry. Next is 141, General Purpose School Fund. We've got 3 that are fund balance draws. The rest of them are inter-fund transfers, so let's take up the fund balance draws first. First one is 2021 141 05 FB. This is for a teaching position for a nurse and a maintenance personnel position. This is necessary to pay the new high school nurse and maintenance positions. They're requesting to move $63,300 from their unassigned fund balance and debit these several line items pertaining to those positions. Ms. Johnson. Have a motion to approve, second by Mr. Harsh. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is approved. Next one is 2021-141-09 FB. This is Use Risk Behavior Survey. This is basically a flow-through of funds where they had received $690 from this survey, which they participated in. And this is used to be used at the middle and high school at a later date. They're wanting to bring the money in and be able to allocate it to the Office of Principal for supplies and materials. Any questions? Have a motion to approve by Ms. Johnson. Have a second by Mr. Gully. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. It is approved. Any opposed? It is approved. Okay. Next one is 2021-141-10 FB. This is insurance premium increase. It was necessary to pay the insurance premium was more than was anticipated, more than was budgeted for. So this is pulling this out of their fund balance, or unassigned fund balance, to be able to cover these additional insurance costs, $4,821. Ms. Jones, motion to approve, second by
Shane.
Mr. Shane. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. That one is done. These others are interfund transfers, so we can take them all together. We'll go over them individually. If you want to pull any of them out for an individual vote, certainly we can. Ms. Wall?
Make a motion to take them all at one time.
Motion to cover them all with one vote. Have a second by Ms. Jones. We can read through them and then we'll vote on them. All of these have to do with your 141 school fund. The first one is to reallocate funds due to BEP income, a little bit over. And the second one, 2021-14104, is a special education maintenance of effort. It's necessary to meet the general maintenance of effort requirement. This is going into personal athletic events. I'm sorry, is $1,127. The next one is personnel at athletic events. Need to adequately reflect additional funds necessary to cover nursing, custodial services during athletic events due to COVID-19. I think they're being required to have nurses on staff at the different athletic events, and that's to cover those additional needs. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yes, my understanding is to cover additional costs related to COVID.
You also have 2021-14107 Safe School Grant. Money's coming in $30,780. Next one is a reduction in school psychologist salary. They're contracted, I think, for that service instead of hiring someone full-time. I believe I'm correct on that. And the last one is LEAPS, has to do with diabetics. So align your general purpose with state-approved LEAPS after-school project diabetes. Kind of a pass-through, moving from one line item to another for these special ed projects that have come up. Mr. Harsh?
Move to approve them all.
Okay. We have a motion to approve them all. We had a motion to consider them all. We have a motion to approve them all, Mr. Harsh, and second by Mr. Walsh to approve them all. Any discussion about it? Everybody clear what we're doing? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, that takes care of all of our budget amendments. Next item, Mayor, would you like to, got down here to the courthouse repairs as a discussion item?
Yes, we went through the building committee and we looked at two different repairs to the courthouse. We did go ahead and remove the rest of the flooring in the courthouse, but the company came in and removed the damaged part. Effectively removed half the floor that was there already. Some of the linoleum that was still there had been tested at the request of the insurance company, and it tested as 20% asbestos. So we went ahead and ripped that out. We also repaired some of the subflooring while we were in there. And we went to the building committee with two options to repair the floor. The one was replace it with linoleum that looks like wood, or go back with a pre-finished hardwood. The committee voted looking at the difference between the two. Going with the linoleum was about $7,600 or so. Going with the hardwood was ended up being $11,915. We are getting $22,000 from the insurance company, so we have $11,000 there extra than what we're actually going to spend on the hardwood for any other expenditures that come up. And so the building committee did vote to go ahead and recommend to replace the floor with hardwood. And so that will be coming up. We did get the insurance money, I believe, maybe even today. So that's gonna be up as a budget amendment next month, but right now, we do have enough funds under the current budget to go ahead and cover it and then show the revenue next month.
We believe that the insurance is going to more than exceed.
The insurance check we're gonna get is $22,000, and right now, the estimate we have for the flooring is $11,915. And the wood itself, the flooring you're putting in there, they said it lasts 150 years, so.
Sweet. That'll work.
Any
Is that
questions
installed
about
cost?
it?
I believe that is installment cost as well.
Yeah.
The Public Works Department, all the subflooring work that's being done, the Public Works Department's doing that. It's just the contractor's gonna come in and actually lay the hardwood and the quarter round and all that stuff, the trimming. It's just, we're gonna do everything besides that.
Mary, do you have anything else for us?
That's it at the time. There will be more things coming up in November. I mean, we've had some expenditures come up, revenues coming up. We'll have to do some budget amendments for that, but for what we got ready right now, that's it.
Commissioners, anything from any of you? Okay, public comments? Anybody from the public like to make a comment? Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Walsh makes a motion. Ms. Jones seconds. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are done. If you haven't signed in for the work session, please come up here. Sign in sheet is up here.